Hi, I'm astrologer Val Evans. Thanks for watching Astrology and Crime. A massive hunt is underway for a 20-year-old college student who went missing last week after enjoying a night with friends and encountering two males during the evening. One of the men was in his 20s and seen getting close with the possible victim, Sudiksha. She first landed at the resort on March 3rd and was last seen in the early hours of March 6th on a surveillance camera around 4:15 a.m. So we're going to consult the charts and the cards to see what we can find. Thanks everybody for joining me. And I've got this on members only chat. So welcome members. Hi Toy. Hello Angel. Thanks for moderating. And I'm going to get started here. This is such a lovely girl, just so sweet, and just wanted to have a nice spring break. I never like those trips that start in Mercury shade or Mercury retrograde. There are potentials of things going wrong. At the very least, it's not that organized. Could things unexpected can happen, but never really do you think a tragedy is going to happen. So this is the chart for, I've got a couple of charts, and this is going to be part one if they don't find her, because uh, I'll get to the mapping in part two. Now, this is the check-in for the group and University of Pittsburgh group of ladies. I believe there were five of them. And let me mark this up here. So we've got the moon ruling the chart, and it is in really poor aspect to Pluto there. So I'm going to explain that in a second. But first, there's the ninth house, and the ninth house shows a bunch of people who are coming in from long distance. Can mean foreign sometimes, but usually means something from a few hours away at the very least. Lots of people are, going to the beach, really excited. That's Pisces, the beach. So this is a foreign beach. This is what's happening in this chart. You can see that. Yet, then we have this Pluto here. Now, Pluto in poor aspect can show the worst side of Scorpio, and that would be betrayal, jealousy, revenge, and sexual assault. So this is a person here who is possibly maybe around the property. I'm not sure. But what you can see is that this person is not able to get here. Now, this could be a potential victim, and we've got a T square here. So add Pluto to Black Moon Lilith, and this is a very sinister energy that's in the mix here, in the mix of this check-in chart at 3 p.m. on March 3rd. Of course, she would not go missing until the 6th, but this can give us kind of a snapshot of the profile of what's happening. So there's somebody here. I have a feeling maybe they want to get to the 10th house there, someplace out in the open. They're trying to do something. Taurus could be money, could be thinking that they're interested in a wealthy female, but it looks like a fail at this point for this person. And so if we're going to assign a person to these planets, and of course this chart is the map of the sky at check-in, but we can see that there is an ease here with this group who's checking in right now. There is someone who this Pluto represents. I believe this could be a rapist, and chatting these people up. This person, when added to Pisces there, that can show someone in disguise. Could also maybe just simply has a drink in his hand and is drinking alcohol. With Pluto, this is a lot of alcohol, and that's going to also show a profile. The first thing you do when you go to the beach resort, you want to go down to the bar. Um, you want to have your first cocktail because it's been a long, long flight. I believe she's from Loudoun County, Virginia, but I believe she was flying with her friends from college, University of Pittsburgh. So, yeah, I'm looking at that T-square there. Don't like that at all. And of course, the chart ruler, this is the chart ruler, the moon up here. So this can show something when there's an aspect like a square to Pluto, the moon squaring Pluto. This is extreme fame, but not the kind of fame that you want. All right. So what's really interesting, I just put the police report time when everyone was deciding that they can't find their friend. They're going to go to the hotel lobby again and they're going to report, the missing person. And notice that the moon here is at 18 degrees with Jupiter. And if we go back, the moon here was squaring Pluto. Now, what is the moon doing? The moon is making a different aspect. The moon is squaring Saturn. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see that. This is the death of the chart ruler, really. That's it. There's no more to that. It's the trip basically is done, and they're reporting something that could potentially be a death. So I don't like to see that. That is very concerning to me. And also, check out the ruler of the chart. This time it's the sun. So, and Leo, I think, is going to play a big part here. With this chart, it is the sun now is in the 8th house, and the 8th house can represent a murder. So we got Pluto as murder. At this point, Pluto. Let's look at Pluto. There's a trine to South Node in the 2nd house, and there's a sextile here to the 8th house. So the person might have a little bit of you know what? North Node to Pluto is someone who could potentially be deceiving. So there's deception there. So far, not having any problem. It seems they've got him, I think maybe they've detained him, or he is supposed to just stay in one place right now. It's interesting how this man looks too. So there's that Saturn moon. Now here's the chart for the 4 a.m. This is really when the group is still at the bar. And let me just go over to the chat real quick. Hey, Natalie, we are talking about that missing girl in the DR, and her name is Sudiksha Kananki. I hope I got that right. She is, I don't know anyone who hasn't gone on a beach trip. And so they did that. And Punta Cana is a beautiful place. I'm sure they were very excited about it. Yeah, she was in Virginia. I believe, I'm not sure if they flew from Virginia because she was attending University of Pittsburgh. Yeah. And Toy, you said this reminds me of what happened to Natalie Holloway, and we're going to see that in the chart. I think a lot of people are comparing that, and there's a lot of twinning here in this chart. So we're going to see, I think, that. Yeah, this one is pretty disturbing. I don't know. There's always hope. There is always hope in these types of cases, but this one looks like a tough one to me. All right, so before I actually get to the crime chart, I want to go over something that I already looked at as far as the cards. And I got the 2 of Cups. So we're talking something went down on that beach, and You know, obviously they were just getting to know each other and attracted to each other. So you can imagine what happened on the beach, probably between, I don't know, maybe 4:15 and 5:15. So that's one of the cards. I'm going to pull some other cards and then we'll get to the actual crime chart or last seen time. And can you give us any more information about what happened to this missing college student in Punta Cana? Ace of Swords. So we always get this as a Scorpio card or kind of like a going down into the depths of something. This is usually this is a good card, but Ace of Swords. Let's get another clarifier card. It looks like there's someone who is, it's like the basement card. I hope not. Her cover up was found on one of the chairs at the resort on the beach, from what I understand. Yeah, the sea, maybe. Okay, another clarifying card as to what happened to this college student. Six of Swords. So, it's all said and done, but this card would make me think that there was a little hope, that there was something, uh, somebody survived. I mean, usually that's a survival card. There's a bunch of birds there. This is sadness over something. It's weird that she's wearing red because when you see the pictures of the victim, she's wearing red. So, and can I get one more clarifier card on what happened to Sudiksha? Eight of Swords. So, we get that a lot in these missing persons cases. So, not having a choice, getting stuck somewhere. So that's possible if we're talking about where she is at the moment. Hey, Brenda, thanks for joining us. Hello, Addie. Nice to see you. And all right, so I'm going to go back over to the chart. And all right, so we got the check-in already. This is the 4 a.m. chart. This is before she's seen on, before she's seen on the video camera, on the surveillance camera. So we are at, Saturn is ruling this chart at the moment. And it's very strange because you can see that square to two planets, and this is a famous twin. So this is something, it's going to mean possibly an unaliving. There's a possibility of it because of this one aspect here. And a famous one too, because the moon is people. Jupiter's a lot of people. And it's also television. And the family will be on television talking about her. Also, Natalie Holloway's mother is talking about this case as well. So you're going to see the twins' mom. And so that would be Moon and Gemini. Let me double check my mic here real quick. Okay. Natalie said, was she on the beach, a boat? Sometimes I take the cards in a literal way with what's on the pictures. Yeah, she was on the beach. And very interesting, you say a boat. I don't know we're seeing boats as far as the recovery, but it is possible maybe that's where we can find her, is near a boat. Maybe it's near a marina. So you bring up a good point, I think. Okay, so Saturn is here. Now we're getting into the last degrees here of Capricorn. And let me think about what Capricorn means. Capricorn in the second house, or Saturn in the second house, is kind of like not having much money. And maybe somebody's running out of money. Maybe somebody's card decline. Saturn square moon often means like a decline of something. It can mean embarrassment too. Maybe somebody made a move and the other one's like, not sure about that. You're a little old, but it doesn't look like that because I think they're holding on to each other in some of the surveillance videos. So let me pull that up because you are going to be really interested in this. Camera Sudiksha. And okay. And you can see, I don't know if you can see that. Hold on. See this guy, I'm probably going to get a commercial here, but you see that guy there? He's like that's the guy. He's in his 20s and he's holding up his arm. He's either taking a picture or he's like showing his muscle. I don't know, but it's very Leo, very Leo. Let's see if I can get it here.
I have moderate to severe.
Figured I'd get a commercial, but you can see, let me see. Yeah. He's kind of holding up his hands. You can look that up and see that he looks like a pretty big guy, has muscles. That would be Leo. So let me see here. Got to pull up here we go. All right. So what's happening is the perp, if there is a perp, is Cancer. So that's Moon. And Saturn is squaring the Moon right now. So for whatever reason, which doesn't make any sense because they look like they've got their arms around each other, it just seems as if maybe there's some kind of, I don't know, maybe some hesitancy or something. And so the ascendant showing the victim and the descendant showing the perpetrator, this is going to be moving out of these signs by the time they are caught on surveillance cameras. And so you can see we're starting to get into Aquarius now. So the chart ruler changes over to Uranus. So you can see that there is a trine here to South Node and a sextile over to Saturn. Does that mean, Uranus shows to change. And the problem is that Pluto is right in front of the victim and squaring Black Moon Lilith. This is a very, very evil energy. Keeping in mind that Pluto and Aquarius does mean a big wave, especially when it sextiles Pisces. But I think because North Node is in there, which can mean deception, I think that's what was said, which is the truth. The police have reported that apparently this person of interest, not considered a suspect yet, said there was a huge wave and he didn't see her again. He got sick and then he just passed out. So all very odd. And also, I think he gave conflicting stories, keeping in mind that he was definitely, at least from what the surveillance video shows, he was definitely drunk. And there's always the off chance that he could have been acting drunk. But so now we've got Pluto here, and Pluto rules the 10th house. This is out in the open. This is potentially an assault out in the open. And so this is the person, this is the perp if a crime was committed. Now, what's really strange is that you've got the square here to these two planets, which would show me that there wasn't success of some sort. I don't know why. Something happened, maybe unexpected, I don't know. But this case is going to be, I don't know if it's going to get any more famous, but when you put Pluto with the trine to Jupiter and the moon together. Oh my God, that is the most famous you could ever get, because this is already famous, and then this is super, super famous. So let's look at witnesses here. Witnesses are going to be in here. Mercury is going to be in Aries here, it looks like. And hmm, it seems like, I know this sounds weird because it was late at night or early in the morning. It was dark, but it seems like there were a lot of witnesses, and it seems like there's a lot of data. And there's hidden data, but I think the police are going to be able to see that. So let's look at the police, and then we'll go back to the um the witnesses. But where's the police? The police are here, and they can solve this case. You can see a nice trine to the sun. This is the person of interest at the moment, and you can see a nice grand trine here. So it looks, not only do they have him, which would already show that grand trine, but they're going to be able to see, it seems, what is happening. They're going to be able to get into the data. Because there is this twin here, it makes me think that there are other victims. And because the police can get into the data, it's not really clear about the data though, because I'm not seeing, where's Uranus here? Yeah, they're going to have to get into something hidden. This could be just the banking. The second house would be banking or something like that. Hmm. But there is, to me, I think that this person may have had some other people who he had problems with before. There could be other victims. The other thing too that's really of interest, I think, is the fact that Uranus, I'm sorry, Venus and Chiron are right next to each other. And this shows a female that is wounded. And you can see that there is a square to Mars. So we can also look at Mars as if there is some kind of attack. And you could say it comes from, maybe it was in the water, I don't know, but I think she's angry. It looks like she's angry about something, number 1, but it also looks like there could have been something that had to do with blood. Um, so the police are gonna have quite an investigation on their hands. Let's look at, let's see, what else can we look at? It's the sun. This is the profile of the if there was a crime, the murderer. We're gonna look at the sun. The perp was drunk. Always actually positive for the investigation because, the person doesn't have his story straight. With the square to Jupiter and Moon, there were 2 guys, and I think we might see a second person. I don't know, that second person might have been with the group, but we could have a group on our hands here. Could have a group on our hands. Now some people are asking if she could have been trafficked. And there is the second house here, which is finances, it's money. Uranus is here, and Pisces is a drug. You're seeing a lot of Pisces stuff right now. You're seeing these, college girls, or this group that went down, was it to Mexico, and they died from carbon monoxide poisoning. And that hotel it seemed like it was a nice hotel. So we're seeing a lot of like Pisces sleeping, being poisoned, that kind of thing. Now with Uranus in the fourth house, this can show the victim. The victim is right here. And a trine here, right here. Um, Yeah, I mean, it is possible that this person saw the victim as a financial target for whatever that was, because we've got Taurus, um, we've got second house. There's money on this person's mind. So that might make a case for an attempt here at trafficking, but usually with this kind of stuff, there's not so much Pisces. And remember, we've got the Lover's card too. So that could mean that there was a connection at first between the perp and the victim. Hey, TJ. Wonder what her friends thought of him. I guess they weren't really thinking about it. I know there's probably going to be a lot of judgment on the friends, which I tend not to do because this is the chart, and it manifests, and I really don't see it as anybody's fault. And I'm sure these kids that she was that I mean, probably the first time they've ever been out of the country, or maybe not, but together in a fun spring break. I mean, they're young, so they're not experts in how to maintain, a safety protocol. Ace of Swords is the truth. Okay. So Ace of Swords is the truth. Then we're going to find out the truth here. But guy, you said, I read that they were at a hotel that had no water working and also electricity was out for that day. That's why the kids were at the beach. Exactly. And that's another thing. Thanks for reminding me. You can see Aquarius there, which is electricity. And that also translates over to the check-in too. There's the check-in, and there's the electricity. That is so wild. Look at that. So the electricity is out. Okay. This is the chart ruler. And so what does everybody do? What do all of these foreign people do? They go to the beach. They're going to the beach. No electricity. They can just go down to the beach. Kind of crazy how that shows. Um, and at that point, I guess, avoided this T square, which could be lack of electricity. But the other thing that I see from this too is that, well, let me go over to the crime chart just to double check. I mean, if we're going to look at recovering someone instead of a rescue, we're going to look at Saturn, which is, what is the remains of someone. And it does look as if the police can find the victim. Let me ask just to confirm. Can police find the victim soon? If it's a twin to Natalie Holloway, it's not going to be soon, but can they find this victim soon? Looks like a yes. Clarifying card. Ace of Pentacles. Okay. Ace of Pentacles. What do you think about that, Natalie? So I'd say that that's pretty positive, and you can see that in the chart too. Now, let's see here. Third house is the neighborhood. That's in Aries. This could be somebody who is right outside the hotel, because you can see that this is the hotel. And, okay, wait a minute here. So this is at 4:15. Uranus is sextiling. I mean, it's a big, grand trine there. And I mean, that's electricity. It is a big, big, big change. Then there's this sextile here to the second house. It's possible. There is a possibility that she's alive. There is a possibility. But if you're looking at the moon as the victim, which I think we should be, then it's a no. It's probably going to be a recovery. So there is a small chance. There's a small chance. But Aquarius is just a complete shock. It's a complete shock. Ninth house are the tourists. And obviously, you can see the sun, this Leo type down here, and kind of in disguise. This chart would seem to say. Let's see, second house is Neptune. Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting about this. I think this is a major clue, the twins. And there is a property that's a twin property. I believe it's southeast of where she was. So that could show us some kind of a clue. But I would say right now, the the best possibility with all of this Aquarius is drones and helicopters right now in the search. And I think they'll be able to find her, but oh shoot, guys, sorry about that. Uh yeah. Okay, so yeah, all this Aquarius. This is Uranus in this sextile here, which it's very good. But the problem is a lot of times with these charts, the moon is the victim. And with this square here to Saturn, it does not look good. It does not look good. It could simply be, people are talking that she could be the twin of Natalie Holly. I can't say it. Holloway. And that's why we're getting that twin. But twin is definitely a clue here on possibly where we could find her. So we'll have to see. Lots of Leo. Leo to me shows me that there was some kind of attempt at quote unquote romance. Romance. I don't think so. Did she know this guy before she went on the trip? Natalie said, I use pentacles as years, so I don't know. Or use it as number one day, 1 week, 1 month. Okay. Because it's Aquarius, it seems like it could be faster than average. But because there is this square here with Black Moon Lilith right there, it could kind of, something holds it back a little bit. Pluto. It could be the government. 10th house is the Pluto here. So could be the government themselves. They're not being as helpful as they could be. That would be an example. So yeah, it doesn't look good. This is an attack, I think, because of Mars here. And Mars squaring Venus retrograde. So, and we would see pictures of her, and she would be wearing red. So I did a horary. Sometimes, I don't know if you guys ask questions and you draw the horary and see what the chart says, but you don't always have to ask a question. You just take the time for when something is really on your mind. And so that's kind of weird because I did that this afternoon for the victim, and I was just looking at her, and this is the victim here. Mercury was the chart ruler here, and she was wearing red. She was wearing a red top, and so all of this, most of the stellium is in the 8th house. So an 8th house is not, it's a crisis. It's definitely at the very least a crisis, but I think you guys know what the 8th house is. So it is not looking that positive, but there is always hope. There is always something that could keep us, being hopeful. Okay. Ask the cards where she can be found, where she currently is, because those first 3 cards you pulled could line up with the trafficking, but I forget your original question that got those cards. Okay. Pretty much, I think what happened. Yeah. Yeah, they were drunk though. Okay, so where can Sudiksha be found? Where can we find her in the next 24 hours. Hang on. Ace of Cups and clarifier card. Getting a lot of cups with this. This is love. Love. Or some kind of romantic connection. Can you give me some other clue as to where we can find this victim? 9 of Wands. So maybe on the border of something. Doesn't seem like it could be in right at the edge of another region. And let me see. Let me ask one more card. Where is she right now? Where is the victim right now? High Priestess. Well, I think we could probably come up with some clues on the map once we look. And so we'll probably look for something that has to do with a high priestess. I mean, these cards kind of have somewhat of a trafficking type of connotation, but I don't think so. I think it could have been an accident where, there was too much strength, maybe. But that's pretty interesting getting those cards. And all right. So that's all I have. Thanks, guys. I just want to pop in and see what kind of first clues we can get, see what else develops over the next couple of days, and then I will go on and we'll see if we can map. So thanks so much for joining me, and I'll talk to you soon.